Well, next, the new emergency vehicle capable of being used for operations and administering advanced drugs for those in need of serious medical assistance.
Yeah, it's run by the Norfolk Accident Rescue Service, a charity which provides critical care at the roadside and also in people's homes. It's hoped it'll support the traditional ambulance service even more now that it has a second response vehicle.
In a moment, we'll be taking a little look around it. But first, Natalie Gray's been meeting a woman whose life was saved by NARS.
Well done. Sam Connor and Will Fletcher are counting down to their wedding next month. Their daughter Dottie will be flower girl, but it's a day they know they're lucky to be holding at all.
I really hope it's a sunny day.
That's because 3 years ago Sam was involved in a horrific car crash near their home at Alderby on the Norfolk-Suffolk border. She'd swerved to avoid an animal in the road and crashed into a tree. The seatbelt severed her jugular vein and she was bleeding heavily. Happily, a critical care paramedic from Norfolk Accident Rescue Service was able to stop the bleeding and stitch her neck at the scene.
There was evidence in the car that she'd lost quite a bit of blood at the time and was not very responsive, had a very low level of consciousness, so we needed to act fairly quickly. The quickest and safest way to control the bleeding on that occasion was to put some temporary stitches in just to close the wound and help control the bleeding.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. It's as simple as that, really.
Because the A&E consultant, didn't he, said that if Barry from NARS hadn't have been there and done what he done, then Sam wouldn't have made it. By the time she got to hospital, then they wouldn't have been able to do anything for her.
Someone was looking over me because from what happened and my injuries, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here, so every day I'm thankful.
NARS is nearly 50 years old and provides critical care at the scene of serious road crashes and other life-threatening medical emergencies. Crews from the East of England Ambulance Service often don't have the same level of expertise.
Every morning when I wake up, I just count my blessings, how fortunate I am and the rest of the family are that we've still got Samantha in our lives.
Sam is so grateful to the NARS medic who saved her life that Barry Hart will be guest of honour at her wedding. Sam, they're one of hundreds of people who've had their lives saved by NARS, the Norfolk Accident Rescue Service. This is their brand new vehicle. It's cost £95,000 and they're really grateful to the person who left them a lump sum in their will because they don't get any funding, you know. Let me introduce you now to Chris Neal, who is the chairman of NARS. Chris, why do you guys exist when we've already got an ambulance service?
Well, that's a really good question because the paramedic profession has come a long way over the last 10 years and they're professional at managing every 999 call. But there are a small percentage of calls where patients are so ill that they need that additional level of care. And of course, when ambulance crews call for help, that's why we have critical care teams and this is why we do this.
What have you got that an ordinary ambulance hasn't?
The monitors that we have are slightly more sophisticated. We have, like this is an example of a transport ventilator. So if someone is anaesthetised or sedated, we can ventilate them. And this, you wouldn't find that on a standard ambulance. We also have additional drugs and therapies that we can provide patients. So, and a lot of it is the training that we do. So critical care paramedics will do master's level education and our doctors are usually head of departments and consultants. They're senior figureheads.
And what is it? Well, I can see what it does. Can you show me what it does?
Yeah, of course. So this would do automatic chest compressions. That's just a device that we carry that ambulance personnel might be familiar with, but this frees our hands up, so if we're resuscitating patients, we can do all the other bits and pieces.
Sean, come and have a look, because this is not only an amazing response vehicle, it's also a classroom. And inside we can find Sam and Carl. What are you doing, boys?
Well, we're just going through the Resus Council guidelines at the moment.
OK, quick question to you both. Now, Sam is a trained paramedic with the East of England Ambulance Service, and Carl is a trainee paramedic. I want to ask you both why you volunteer with NARS when you've already got a proper job, really.
It's a great opportunity to get exposure to the sickest patients we come across in our day job. So it's a brilliant opportunity.
Carl?
It's fantastic working with people with different skills and just increase my education and training.
Lovely. So NARS costs £200,000 every single year to keep on the roads, which might not sound like a huge amount of money, but some years they really struggle to keep going.
Great team, great bit of kit as well, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic organisation.